There is a small island, about half the size of a hut, a brisk swim away from shore. The grass that grows on it has never been harvested, so it grows unchecked. Julian marveled at it as a child, the long grass reaching into the sky almost as tall as the stars. The grass was thicker than his arm, and every year he swam to it. The aches and pains from harvesting never slowed him, and the side of the island that faced away from land, he had pushed and pulled the stalks of grass, and he was able to make a space large enough to lie down. He always arrived first. Harvesting took less time than baking, and it was easier to sneak away unnoticed. A cherished friend always arrived second. Her name is Neesa. Neesa was of the Grue clan. With their striking red hair, red eyes, and pale skin, the Grue has always been a clan that inspired fear and loathing. Living on the western fringes of the plains, and the only clan that would dare enter the western mountains. Additionally, the only clan to never marry off one of their own to another clan. Every year, one of the Grue would take the Mareed's test, and every year a Grue was taken by the Mareed. Julian had hoped that if she took the test and surely passed. If they were far away from the Grue clan, far away from the plains, learning whatever the Mareed wanted to teach, he hoped. When Neesa arrived, dripping in seawater with a heavy pack on her back, Julian smiled in a way that was rare for him. "Are you ready to take the test this year, Neesa?" inquired Julian. Neesa had been smiling, but she frowned at the question.
No, nor will I ever. I will marry this year. Father has chosen one of our archers to be his successor, and I will be the proof of that pact.
Julian managed to lose his smile as well. He gazed into Neesa's eyes and wondered if her tears could drown him. He wanted to pretend he could comfort her. He wanted to believe that her tears were just the seawater dripping from her hair, but her red eyes were redder, and her nose was red.
Julian, I know you are taking the test this year. Please, if you do pass, promise me you will come back,
whispered Neesa. I have never heard of someone coming back from the Mareed. To be honest, no one knows where they go or what they do. Just that it isn't important to the Mareed, and the Mareed are not to be denied. Why would I promise you something that I know I could never hold myself to? Said Julian between clenched teeth. Neesa laughed, actually laughed. Julian could not comprehend why she could laugh, but her eyes and tears still betrayed her sorrow.
The Grue know. Have known for more generations than I can count. The Mareed have a treaty with a legend, and that legend is the one that wishes to teach humans magic. The Grue have the greatest rate of latent magical talent, and thus every Grue who tries passes the Mareed's test. The Grue even receive letters from those taken, for every member of the Tower Council is a Grue.
What Sliff said must have been true then. If Neesa was saying the same kind of things. Blasphemy, that's what this test was. And Julian could not summon a single care about that. What would I do if I returned, Neesa? Get burned on a pyre for blasphemy? Asked Julian. Neesa smiled.
No, you wouldn't. Become powerful first. The things magic can do are incomprehensible. Come back and conquer all the clans. If you're a leader to all clans, who could stop you from taking whomever you wish?
Neesa's garments dropped to the ground, and Julian's heart felt like it dropped as well. I promise to come back, stuttered Julian. Julian left the island after Neesa. They stayed there for 5 days. He was glad Neesa had thought to bring food. He was also unsure of what to do with his hands, now that Neesa's soft skin was nowhere in sight. He was unsure of many things now. How long would it take him to become powerful enough to keep his promise? And how many children would the filthy dog that was to wed Neesa sire before then? Would Neesa even be alive then? Childbirth was dangerous. Fate was not something you could manage to change in a day, and the cost of going against the Whispers were always high. Julian lost any fear about that, though. Julian's father had grilled him, demanding to know where he had been, when he should have been working and studying. It would do no good to tell his father a single thing, having been warned not to do what he had just done for 5 days. So Julian went to find Xeno. Xeno was Neesa's older brother, and a man feared since before he could talk. Julian did not know why, and to him, Xeno was a good friend. Reading from copies of ancient Mereid texts, Xeno was relaxing by a small fire. "Anything interesting in that dusty book of yours, Xeno?" interrupted Julian. "Actually, not really. It's just an opinion piece on the First Arrival War. A war where no one died, and yet raged for hundreds of years, and is still considered a war. The Mereid are sure strange," yawned Xeno. "The Marlowe clan still wants my head, and father seems hell-bent on keeping me alive. I do not see why. All I'm gonna do is take the test. The Marlowe say that if I survive the year or leave with the Mereid, it means war. Mind you, it's all my own damn fault. Keep this in mind, Julian. Don't murder someone over milk, especially if you're a child." "News to me, my friend. My father seems to think it pointless to teach me politics until it is sure I will not be taken by the Mereid. I am glad I will have one friend when the time comes, though," grinned Julian. "Hold your ear. Who said I would pass? Few who take the test pass," said Xeno. Julian glared at Xeno with a smile. "You are a Grue. Grues do not fail at test. Ever." "Maybe I'll be the first. Someone has to be," said Xeno. "Yeah, and I'll become the first citizen of the Dialogue States," jested Julian. He was oddly silent for a moment. Julian wondered if his joke was not that funny. However, he had never seen Xeno's eyes wide in fear. "Idiots! You know the Mereid do not tolerate weapons here," yelled Xeno. Julian turned around to see a dozen Grue archers fully armed. The men all stared directly at Julian, and his spine felt weak. Julian's first instinct was to run. Run anywhere but here. The concept of a dozen arrows in the back killed the idea of running. All that was left was talk. Julian was not reassured. "Arms are forbidden here by the Mereid. Any reason you seem hell-bent on disrespecting them?" asked Julian. The men just smirked. One of them chided, "You think some stuffy Mereid will save you, thief?" An arrow flew from another, followed by the rest. Julian was unharmed. Silence became thick as 12 arrows floated in the air, encased by spheres of water. Each of the men made no sound, as water seemed to gush out of every orifice, and all that was left were dry husks that were once warriors. A voice broke the silence with no definitive origin. The Mereid had guaranteed the safety of all who come to show us the talents of their young. No matter who raises their weapon in violence, the whole clan will be rejected from our sight. Grue clan, if you wish to survive the day, leave now. Every last one of you. The Grue are no longer welcome." Julian felt Xeno's hand on his shoulder in a quiet tone. "No worries, my friend. I'll make sure this blows over. Neesa will be fine. Our father has always loved her dearly." How do you know about?" whispered Julian. "A big brother knows his sister. He has to," said Xeno. Xeno and the rest of the Grue clan packed up in silence and were gone. Julian's father found him as he sat on the shore, staring at the island on the horizon, its grass reaching up high in the sky. He did not say a thing. He just put his arm around Julian and stared out at the distance with him. His father handed him a letter. The head of the Grue clan had signed it, and its message was simple. Hand over to the Grue Julian's corpse before the festival's end or face war. The weight of shame is something that Julian could only bear with because it was not as lethal as it felt. Thinking only of what he had wanted, he had endangered his whole clan to Neesa. "The Mereid will test you now. My son, for your sake, I hope you pass. I will keep our clan far from the Grue. I wish I could say I am proud of you. However, this is not how a Septos should conduct himself. My son is a thief of the worst kind, and it is what it is." Julian's father had a voice like ice. A couple of Mereid stood before Julian, cloaked in black, faces hidden. They looked human enough. Julian was unsure why they were not considered human. "It is time," said one of them, and they walked away. Julian followed. They went to a tent on the shore and pointed to a cushion on the floor. He sat where the Mereid pointed. The tent was warm, too warm. A group of Marids sat on a dais made of stone, each one looking at him with blank expressions. Julian had never seen a Marid's face this close, and there was something off about them. Their features were too smooth, too simple, and it sent chills down his spine. He was handed a piece of chalk and a stack of slates. Etched into the slates were questions with 4 possible answers. Julian took this to be the test and read each question carefully. One by one he read through all the slates, and he realized he knew the answers to each one. Simple figures and grammar. It was too easy. His own father would have passed if this was the test. Julian sighed and marked off each one. The Marid took the slates and reviewed them. They did not speak or even look away from Julian. Before they all in unison, "Now that we are certain you are moderately literate, the real test begins." 4 stone pillars burst from the ground. "One of these are not what they appear. Tell us which one and how you know it is that one." Julian could almost laugh. How ridiculous. What kind of test was this? Julian silently thanked Sliff. He saw it. He saw the difference. Not one, but 2 glowed dimly, just like the mushroom stalks in the dawn of the brightest star. "The far right and the far left. They glow like manna stalks," said Julian. "Are you certain of this?" asked the Marid in unison. "Yes." "Then you have passed."